How's it going? So I have a 5.3 liter Silverado and I have a feeling the vacuum pump is failing on it. So I'm gonna be doing the delete today, and then this is gonna be me showing you how I did it and what I did to do it, and just follow along. As far as what you need for this job, you'll need a length of 3/8 vacuum hose. Fuel hose works as well from your local auto parts store. I just got some off Amazon. You'll also need hose clamps to fit it. And then you will need some block off screws. Now I also got a block off plate, but it didn't come in yet, and I can just install that later. But for now, we'll have these screws. I'll put the link for the part number in the description for these screws, and let's go get after it. First things first, I got an 8mm socket right here, and then there is a hose clamp right there, and then right there going from the air box to the intake manifold. Once you have those hose clamps loosened, there are two quick connects right here that you have to disconnect. And then this whole piece should just come right off. Now that I have this off, I'm just gonna set it to the side over here. And then now you're left with a pretty open engine bay. All right, you will have a vacuum hose that goes from your brake booster all the way down to your vacuum pump on the bottom of the motor. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and disconnect this now. Don't burn yourself like I just did, but it'll come apart right here. Press that clip in and then pull out, and then just set that to the side. And then this whole piece should just pop right out. Like that. There might be a little vacuum to it, so just be careful. Now that you have that clip undone, now this line should be free and you should be able to pull it straight up and out. Now this red clip down here, it will be closed off just like this when you get it. You want to spread the little wings and then just pull up, and then that releases the clip. It's that simple. Boom. And then you have your hose free. Now don't go throw away this hose, because we got to reuse the fittings on it. You got your sensor right here that we need to pull off it and reuse. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a heat gun, heat up the hose around it, and then pull it off. If that doesn't work, I will be slicing the side of it. All right, so the heat gun didn't work like I thought it would. So I just took a knife, a utility knife, and I just cut a slit down the side of this. And then now it should just be able to pop straight out, just like that. The rest of it, we should not use, but I'm gonna throw it to the side just in case. All right, we're gonna come over here on the driver's side valve cover, and then yours should have this plastic piece over top of it. It's just to protect the coils and all the wires and stuff above it, and also for looks. You don't have to take this off, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it off just so I can show you guys a little bit easier of what next to do. All right, so over here, right underneath the throttle body, you have this quick connect clip. You will just have to undo that. It's one of the vacuum ports. So we'll go ahead and undo this, and I'll get right back with you. All right, so now we have this vacuum port off. As you can see, it's just a quick connect. And then you will have another quick connect running right underneath your ignition coils, and then you will just have to undo that one as well. It's kind of hard to see in there, get you close up, but it's another quick connect fitting, and you're going to just press the quick connect and pull it right out. All right, so this vacuum port is just right on side of the intake, and as you can see, I now have this quick connect disconnected up in here, just like that. And then you can just come over here and should be able just to pull it straight out. Just be careful not to catch any wires and break anything else. All right, now that we have this vacuum line out, do not throw this away. We're gonna be reusing these clips because they're very useful. And then I also don't have to go buy any more. So I'll go ahead and take you over to the next step. Okay, now so I have my razor knife, and then again, I'm just going to cut a single line down the center of this just to free up this fitting, and I will do it for both of them. So just be careful, don't cut all the way through the fitting, just go nice and easy and slow, and just make sure you save this fitting. All right, so now I've cut a slit between both of those hoses, and now you can just be able to pull this straight out just like that. And if you can't hear it, this is like a hard kind of plastic hose, and then we're just going to be getting rid of this. Again, there's your other fitting. Now you can go ahead and toss this, keep it. I'm just gonna go ahead and toss it because I have no use for it. All right, so now I have my 3/8 hose. It's a 3/8 vacuum hose. Just make sure you get something with a thick enough wall so it doesn't collapse. Now I also have my hose clamps. I'm gonna have 2 of these, and I have this sensor that goes into the brake booster. I don't know the technical name for this, but it's a sensor for the brake booster. Now just remember what side goes into the brake booster and which side doesn't. This side right here went to my vacuum hose that goes to the vacuum pump, and this is the side we're going to be putting into the new vacuum hose. So go ahead and just put your hose clamp on the vacuum hose and get your sensor onto the hose. All right, now that I have the sensor attached to my hose with the hose clamp, I will be reinserting it into the brake booster like so. Just make sure you get a good tight fit in there. You don't want none of that vacuum leaking out. And then you're gonna just take your electrical connector and then just plug it right back in. And then don't cut your hose yet, leave it to length so you can measure it off and cut exactly how much you need. Now we're gonna be taking this hose and we are going to be running it underneath here and back to that vacuum port that goes into your intake. So I will go ahead and run this. I'll show you how I run it and how I like it. And then I will get right back to you and show you what I did. All right, now that I have my hose ran from the brake booster to this vacuum port on the side of the air intake, I have it ran just like so, and I have it zip tied. If you zip tie them, do not zip tie them super tight, otherwise you could have failure. It'll squeeze the hose too tight and you won't get vacuum out of there. Now, like I said, I went ahead and ran it back to its original location under here by the intake port. All right, after we got that line ran, don't forget we also have this port down here. I'm just gonna throw this fitting back on it just for now, but I'm also gonna be installing a oil catch can in a different video, and I will show you how to run the oil catch can with doing the vacuum pump delete. Now, I'm just gonna throw this back on, and then I'm gonna throw the top of the engine back together, and then we're gonna go down there and get to the hard part. All right, now that I have my intake put back on, you just have a hose clamp, another hose clamp, and then you have these little lines that you just gotta click back in. Click, and then double check, make sure they don't come loose. And then, don't came loose, there we go. Not coming loose. Now we'll go back down to the bottom of the engine and we'll go ahead and work down there. All right, now that I'm under the truck, that's where the vacuum pump fitting was that came off. I'm gonna take the original fitting that came off of it and I'm gonna plug it up and I'm gonna set it back on there just so I can go take the truck for a test drive, make sure it all works correctly. I'll be back in a second. All right, so now I'm in my truck and I'm going to be testing the brakes, make sure the brake pedals feel all right. Everything feels good so far, feels nice. And then we are going to go ahead and take it for a little test drive, make sure the brakes are all good. All right, my test drive went great, and now I'm back underneath the truck, and then my pump is right here, and then you have this stretch belt that is right there. Now I will be just cutting that off. You can take it off, cut it off, whatever you'd like to do, but I'm just gonna take a pair of cutters and I'm going to cut it off. So I'll be back whenever I get that done. All right, I went ahead and cut that belt off, as you can see. Now there is a wiring harness right here. Now you can go ahead and just go to the bottom of the motor and just pull this straight out. Just try not to break any of the clips, they can be kind of rough sometimes. If you got a trim removal tool, that'll be better. But there's one right there, and there is one right up here, and you kind of just gotta pull sideways on it because it clips in right there, and then you should be free. All right, so you will have 4 bolts on this vacuum pump. The first one that I'm gonna get to is probably the hardest one, but I'm gonna get it from the top of the engine bay. I'm using a 1/2-inch deep well socket with a swivel and a short extension and a 3/8 ratchet. And I was able to bust it loose, and I'm able to get that bolt out, as you can see. But it's right underneath, right there, as you can see. And that is the first one you gotta get out. All right, the next one is gonna be pretty much right next to this one, but underneath the exhaust manifold. Now, you can get to it from the hood as well. That's what I'm doing because I have 4-wheel drive and it makes it hard down there because there's a lot down there. But I'm reaching this one 3/8-inch drive ratchet with a longer extension and a 1/2-inch shallow socket. And I was able to bust that one loose, and now I'll be getting that one out. See when I get that one out. The top 2 bolts are out. That is the first bolt that is underneath that fitting, and that I got with a deep well socket, a short extension, and a swivel. Now this is the extension that I use here, and I got that with a 1/2-inch short socket. Now that we can see we're underneath the truck, now if you look up there, it's not focusing, but right there is a bolt missing. That was the one top one that we just took off. Now there's one right below it that we're getting ready to take off. There it is, focused in. Now we're about to get that one. As you can see, I have a bunch of extensions on there and a swivel with a 1/2 inch shallow socket. I have a lifted Silverado, so this is a lot harder to get to. And it is also 4-wheel drive. So we now have that bolt loose, and this is the setup I was using for that bolt. Now we'll go get the other one. All right, so it might be hard to see, but my last final bolt is right there. And I will be getting that with a deep well and then my ratchet. Yeah, I now have the final bolt out and the vacuum pump is right there and it is loose. The best way to pull this out is going to be this little slot right in the front of the truck. Now just be careful because oil will come out. I'm gonna be doing an oil change as well, so I'm not worried about putting any oil in it. It's gonna be a pain to get out, but what I did was I lifted the back of the vacuum pump up and then the wheel comes right off just like that. I have the gasket off. Make sure you do not forget this. Make sure this comes off, okay? The vacuum pump's right here, it's off, da-da-da. Now, up there, it's hard to see, but you can see where it mounted. All right, and then I'm gonna try to get you in there so I can show you what I'm doing. All right, I now have you guys in here, and then you see there's 2 holes in the center. You have one on the top and one on the bottom. One is a feed and one is an exit. Now both of those holes need to be plugged with the plugs that I showed in the beginning of this video. Now I'll put a link in the description for those. All right, these are the 2 bolts. They're Allen heads and they are tapered. They already have Loctite and everything on them. My phone's not focusing. And they is a size number 6 Allen. Now I go ahead and I have a socket for the Allen and I'll be using this. Just make sure you do not over torque these because it is an aluminum block and you will strip the threads, and I don't know what to tell you after that. But I will go ahead and install these in those holes and then I'll come back when it is done. Now we're back in the bottom of the engine and now you can see I have those orifices plugged. Now you don't want to over tighten them, but you want to make sure they're nice and tight and they won't leak. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the mess down here, all the oil and stuff off the bottom and off the face of this. So we can come back down here and double check, make sure they aren't leaking. All right, I just wanted to update you as well. So I got that cleaned up pretty good, pretty decently. I do have a plate that is going to bolt up to the stock holes and threads on there, and it'll cover that piece and it'll make it look a little bit better, just kind of for a peace of mind. Nobody's gonna see it, but it's just peace of mind for me that I have extra protection on it. It has a gasket and everything, and I like it better. But I will see you back in a second. So now that we have that done down there, it's all cleaned up and everything's good to go. Want to come up here, double check, make sure all your fittings are correct, make sure they are all tightened and everything is good up here. And then once you do that, we can go ahead and start the truck and let's test it out. I am now in my truck and we are going to go ahead and turn it on. Okay. We are good on lights. So now I'm down here. Confirm that we're not leaking any oil, and it appears we are not leaking any oil. Kind of hard to see up in there. I don't really feel like taking my hand off of it. So I'm gonna do this cruise shot. See down in there, no oil is leaking, and we are good to go for a test run. So let's go ahead and do that. Before we go on a ride or a drive anywhere, let's double check, make sure our brake pedal is good to go. Our brake pedal feels great. Feels better than what it did before. So now we will go ahead and go for a test drive. I went on my test drive, and then now you have seen the vacuum pump delete. I will be uploading another video including a oil catch can to this system, and I will show you how I do so. But now you know how to do a vacuum pump delete on the 2015 Chevy Silverado with a 5.3 liter. I should also add in that your vacuum pump delete only works if you do not have the V4 mode, the AFM or the DOD. You have to have that deleted, whether it's through the motor or through the computer and turned off. Other than that, everything should be good to go. Thank you. Have a good one.